Welcome back to Ohio Tabletop Gamers. Today, I'm giving my thoughts on the Human Defense Force Light Walker. A very, very versatile unit in your faction, often overlooked, but after today, hopefully, you will not overlook this unit. It punches well above its weight. It's very, very good. So let's go ahead and get started and see what they are all about. Okay, so the Light Walker out of the box is 155 points. It's a quality 4, defense 2, fear 1, with the army-wide rule of hold the line, which gives it a +1 on its quality checks. And it's a tough 6. It is armed with a rapid heavy flamer with a range of 12 with 2 attacks, AP 1, blast 3, reliable, very good. And it also has stomp, 2 attacks, AP 1 for your melee. So out of the box, it's perfect to run out of the box if you're wanting just a unit to crash up into some infantry. But I really think there are some other options that might interest you more than the flamer. Not that the flamer is bad. It's just that I think, at least in my opinion, there are some upgrades that are a little bit more tastier than the flamers. So let's go ahead and see what they are all about. So here we are, Light Walker upgrades. So you can replace the rapid heavy flamer with a rapid heavy machine gun. 30-inch range, 6 attacks, AP 1 for 20 points. A rapid missile launcher, 30-inch range, 2 attacks, AP 2, deadly 3, and unstoppable. Or you can get the rapid HE autocannon, 36-inch range, 6 attacks, AP 1, and crack for 45 points. The rapid laser cannon, 36-inch range, 2 attacks, AP 3, deadly 3 for 55 points. Rapid plasma cannon for 30-inch range, 2 attacks, AP 4, blast 3. And the rapid laser machine gun, which is 30-inch range, 6 attacks, AP 3 for 65 points. Now, if you notice, all these upgrades are very long-distance shooters, except for, obviously, what it comes standard with the heavy flamer. So with these upgrades, you can really sit back and reach across the entire board, with a lot of various really good weapons. Now, honestly, you can pick any of these, upgrades, and they all do very well. I'm not a huge fan of the rapid HE autocannon just because I kind of like the old one with the solid AP2 instead of the AP1 with crack. I like to have things, guaranteed. That was a guaranteed AP2, where crack is you got to roll a 6. And I'm not really a huge fan, but it still works well. 36-inch range is great. You can really stay outside of your enemy's range with these things. So it's really good. But do you really want to sit back outside of range and utilize, the Light Walker? Well, not usually. But it's here. I mean, look at the ranges, 30, 30, 36, 36, 30, and 30. I mean, it's great to have that type of range. You can hit anywhere on the field pretty much, as long as you got line of sight. So none of these are a bad choice. It just depends on what you want to use the Light Walker for. What kind of targets are you wanting to go after? Obviously, I guess if I was going to do, what I normally do is I'm going to either go for the heavy machine gun because it's, the most point saving, it's the cheapest weapon. Or, I would go with the autocannon for 45 points. But the one that I absolutely love the most is a rapid laser machine gun. The only problem is it's 65 extra points. So it kind of gets a little pricey, and then at that price, you kind of want to stay back a little bit and protect it a little bit if you can, because you've dumped an extra 65 points in there. But man, that 30-inch range, 6 attacks, AP3 is no joke. It is really good. But for what what I think the light walker is for. I think your heavy machine gun is probably your best choice. That way you're not sinking a ton of points into the unit to do what you needed to do, which we're going to get into here in a little bit. But let's go ahead and see what our next upgrades are. So you can also add cluster missiles. 24-inch range, 1 attack, blast 3. Or you can go with a rocket salvo, 18-inch range, 3 attacks, AP 1. Or give it the warheads for 24-inch range, 2 attacks, AP 2. And unstoppable. Now all 3 of these are going to be limited, so you can only use them one time during the game. So I'm not a real big fan of using these unless you just have an extra X amount of points laying around with nowhere to go. They're really not all that, great. It's a limited weapon, so it's basically something to fill some points in with, in my opinion. But here they are. It's all up to you. They're not bad. And so we get the final upgrades. You can pick one. You can get Forward Observer for 15 points, which gives you Scout. Or you can give yourself the Camouflage Netting, gives you, Stealth for 15 points. I would say that if you're planning on using the Walker as a backline shooter with those 30 and 36-inch range guns, and you're not planning on going forward too much, Stealth isn't that bad of an idea. Targeting sights, which gives you the Relentless mark. Now, you have to be, I believe, within 18 inches of an enemy to put a mark on them, but it is pretty neat if you can get in within 18 inches to go ahead and mark a unit that you want to try to get rid of. So one of your other units shooting at it will get Relentless when they do. So it's not a bad idea. Just be cautious, spending the 10 points just to have it. Remember, you got to be within 18 inches of an enemy unit to use it. And depending on how you're using the Walker, it may or may not be helpful to you. So remember, you might be able to use that 10 points somewhere else. But it's there. Cool. Now, with that out of the way, how do I run the Light Walkers? I run a lot of Light Walkers. In the previous video, I talked to you about how I'm not big on mechs. Walkers, I guess Walkers are mechs, but I kind of consider them more infantry because they don't have tracks or wheels on them. They're not fast, like that. But I kind of consider these like heavy infantry, if you will. So I do use Walkers in my lists. Not every time, but more than I would ever use, a tank or a transport. So anyway, to me, the Light Walker works the best if you put Scout on it instead of the Stealth. The Relentless mark is neither here nor there. You can use it or not use it. It has its uses, like I said. It does have its uses. But putting a Scout on these is the way I run them, and I think, is the best way, because Scout is so powerful in this game. To get that extra 12 inches in deployment is really good. You're already up the field. That's why I was saying, yeah, I'm still going to run maybe a machine gun or an autocannon or maybe even the rapid, laser machine gun, but I'm still going to be kind of close to my enemies with that. So cost effective is probably the heavy machine gun, because I'm going to be 12 inches closer, than the rest of my, units, that are behind my deployment zone line. So the machine gun, you're well within range, and it's only 20 points, so you're not spending a lot, because once you put this forward, it's a target. It most definitely is going to be a really big target right out in the front. Now, how I like to run this, and just bear with me with this because this is pretty cool, I think, is and there's so many variations of this, so don't get me wrong. You can use infantry, you could use veterans, stormtroopers, sappers, even the different units, but really the veterans are going to work best for you with putting an officer in there, okay? And because you can give the veterans a scout, go ahead and put your veterans that have scouted forward within 12 inches of this walker. And the reason why I say that is there's a couple things you can do with this. The officer can either have one, and this works really well, and if you haven't tried it, give this a shot. Okay, so you scouted your walker up. Now you're going to activate your veterans, right? Now, whatever you put in the veteran unit, like if I'm going to do this, a lot of times I'll run the veterans with regular rifles. And then I add like an autocannon or a heavy machine gun into the veteran unit so I can get some distance shooting from my hopefully concealed cover. You know, when I scout them forward, I'm hoping I'm at least in cover somewhere. Okay, so you're going to activate that. You got the long shot with a heavy machine gun just to plink some rounds off at somebody, right? But then the officer is going to get to command that walker and give that walker the entrenched buff. What that does is give you a -2 to hit outside of 9 inches. Okay? Now, hopefully you get first turn. Now, this works best when you have first turn. So if you don't have first turn, you might change your mind on this tactic a little bit. But bear with me. You put your veterans in there with a heavy weapons team, autocannon, machine gun, or missiles, or whatever you want, just to let them be effective when they actually get activated. Shoot at something, right? More than likely, it's going to be a chaff unit ahead of them or something like that. But anyway, so they do something. But the main thing is what you're doing is you're buffing your walker, you know, giving it the entrenched buff because that walker has not actually moved yet. So now you've got that big juicy target in the middle of the field or wherever you're at near an objective. And your enemy, as long as they're outside of 9, they're getting a -2 to hit you. Now, most armies, not all, but most armies, their shooters at best are on a 4, right? So outside of 9, they have to roll a 6 to hit you. You know, and then it's even worse for like chaff units and infantry and other things that are, I mean, even tanks are, you know, quality 4s. Now, sometimes they can be buffed up, you know, to get a +1 in their shooting and stuff like that. But for the most part, your enemy is going to be trying to target that walker, hitting on 5s at best, or normally 6s. And that protects that walker. Now, again, you haven't activated that walker. Start activating other troops, other things. It's going to be extremely annoying to your opponent having that walker sitting there and almost virtually untouchable. They're going to want to shoot at it, but if they know you have that entrenched buff, they may just have to. They're forced to ignore it. Now, if you did use your, added your relentless mark to it, eventually you're going to move this walker, okay? And you're going to move it forward. And by then, your opponent has moved different units around, and you may more easily get within that 18-inch range. Now, I wouldn't make the walker the last thing you move. Let's say there's juicy targets that come within range of that walker, where that walker can move up and put the relentless mark on it. And then you might have another unit that you haven't activated yet, like a tank or something that has a good shot. And now they get relentless against that big thing. Or maybe not even this turn. They still have to carry that relentless mark around. So there's possibilities with that relentless mark at this point. Now, if you didn't use a relentless mark, you're free to move this walker at any point in time during this round. Because remember, they're always shooting at you outside of 9 inches with a -2. You activate when you feel like you need to. You know, if they're getting closer to you, they're trying to come after you. And remember, you don't always have to go forward. You can always pull back, go, to a different area, around some cover, behind blocking cover. It is really good distraction piece when you have it on the table. Against different armies. Trust me, even when your opponent knows that you have this, they still just want to shoot at it. They want to get rid of it because those guns are 30, 36-inch range. So even if you pull back 8 inches or pull back 6 inches and shoot, they hate that. That entrenched buff works very well at the very beginning for you because you've scouted forward. You're sitting on an objective with the veterans. You're a danger. Whether you have the relentless mark or not, you're still a danger and your opponent knows it. And now you're -2 to hit. That's really a good tactic to use, especially in the early round. Now, let's just say the other thing that you could do with it, you can use the officer within that veteran unit if you want, and you don't want to do this entrenched buff. You can use the coordinate. Now, it's a little pricey for an officer to have coordinate. I get it. I understand that. But if you have put within your veterans a heavy weapon, okay, and you can use that to shoot at a unit, and then you use coordinate to move and shoot with your walker, you get 2 moves in that one activation. That's the beauty of coordinate. Now, I normally think coordinate works better with other things, but this is a good tactic also because you can get your veterans and your walker, especially if you got first turn, and they're scouted forward, right? You're still within that 12-inch of each other, and you move your veterans up a little bit, still stay within that 12-inch bubble if you can, and then use coordinate. So, or you could just shoot and then use coordinate to activate your walker immediately to move into a better spot and still shoot. That coordinate works very well in the first turn of the game if you get first turn with those with a scouting veteran unit with an officer in there. The entrenched buff thing works really good. -2 to hit on an object they want to kill, or coordinate so you get the 2 activations in the first turn. Now, a lot of this will depend on whether you get first turn or not. But you can still utilize this stuff even if you're going second. You just have to be a little bit cagier with your deployment in that. But I like the entrenched buff or the coordinate, with a light walker. The light walker is really good because it's cheap. It has pretty good firepower. And with just its size of the model, your opponent does want to try to kill it. It becomes a magnet for everything on the board, and that's why the entrenched works so well. They want to kill it because, especially if you're running a lot of infantry, and then you got a big walker, they want to shoot the big model. And it's kind of funny because even opponents that know they shouldn't be shooting at the walker and doing something else, they end up throwing rounds towards it. They are coming after it for whatever reason. And the good thing is, it's kind of cheap. So in the end, it's not the most important thing in your army. And the more rounds that your opponent's going to throw at it, they're not throwing at other units. It's a very, very good distraction piece. And it has a lot of other uses. Like I said, you could still use this in the backfield with that 36-inch range. That laser machine gun is absolutely awesome. And if you wanted to, you could precision shooter it. I mean, let's not forget that. If you did scout forward with your veterans and you got first turn, yeah, you could throw precision shooter, and now it's hitting on 3s. Especially if you got that laser machine gun on there, hitting on 3s, 6 attacks AP3, hitting on 3s. That's pretty good. It's just pricey. And without that protection or another activate, having that double activation with coordinate, you're going to get shot at. When this is done, everything's going to be shooting at you that ranges you. So just be aware of that. But, that precision shooter works well on this too. I would personally suggest if you're going to use precision shooter to buff your heavy walker, that it's more of a backline instead of a scouting. In that case, you could have stealth, and entrenched. I mean, that's pretty hefty. I believe they stack. I'm pretty sure they do stack, but don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure they stack, though. So that's not a bad idea either, especially if they stack. I'm pretty sure they do. If anybody watching this video knows for sure, I'm pretty sure they do stack, and that would give you a -3 to hit. So that's not bad either with your 36-inch range laser machine gun. But precision shooter is probably the best choice, if you're going to be a back line. That way you're hitting on 3s. But anyway, that's just me rambling on. I really like the light walkers. I like the cost of them. I like how, to me, they're kind of infantry-ish, and I'm a big infantry guy. I have used 3 of these at one time. A lot of times I run them, in pairs, 2 of them. I've used them a lot over the years, and I'm sure that in some of our future battle reports, you're going to see me bring them out again. But yeah, I mean, it's good. There's a lot of possibilities with this, and so I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on this, as usual. I'm not the world's leading expert again, so just, if anybody has any ideas that I didn't think of, or, things that's worked for them, yeah, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Let's have a discussion on it, because the Light Walker, to me, is one of the best units in the HDF, especially with that scout. And scouting is super important in this game. Very important to have your scouts. It's more important to have scouts than it is ambushers, in my opinion, especially if you're playing competitive. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that today. So those are my thoughts on the Light Walker. So, as always, I wish you many more happy games ahead of you. I wish the best for you and your family. Take care.